Here in this list are the Chaos Space Marines, ranked from the most corrupted to the least corrupted, and why we think so. So that's basically the intro, let's get to it. At number 9 we have the Death Guard. Originally known as the Dusk Raiders, the Death Guard during the Horus Heresy pledged allegiance to Horus, and after their homeworld Barbarus was destroyed, they were relocated to the Plague Planet in the Eye of Terror. Chaos within their ranks began when the first Captain Typhon led them to a warp trap, resulting in the devastating Destroyer Plague infecting all of them. Now as Typhus, he became a herald of Nurgle, while Mortarion, their Primarch, and the Death Guard gradually was saved and succumbed to Nurgle's influence. Primarch Mortarion was then reborn and remade into a Demon Prince, and his corrupted legion now served Nurgle, showcasing their diseased nature and fighting alongside the forces of chaos in the Great Game and the Long War. The Death Guard's characteristics are attributed to the twisted gifts bestowed upon them by Nurgle, transforming them into a shambling army of Plague Marines. Virtually all of them accept the gifts granted to them, including enhanced psychic potentials, and they now do not look anywhere close to how they did before the corruption of chaos. At number 8 we have the Thousand Sons. The Thousand Sons corruption traces back to their pre-heresy state, characterized by explosive transformations and a high number of psychers with demonic familiars. Post-heresy they evolved into enhanced automaton suits led by powerful sorcerers, as in the case of the Rubric Marines. These Chaos Marines were at first very loyal to the Emperor, and along with their Primarch Magnus the Red, would have laid down their lives for the Imperium, but sadly due to Magnus's use of sorcery and Horus twisting an arrest warrant, a message into a kill order, the message manipulation led the loyalist Space Wolves to commit a heinous massacre of the Thousand Sons on their homeworld in Prospero. At this moment, the Chaos God Tzeentch saved them and teleported them all the way to the Warp, and in the Warp within their teleported city of Prospero, they received the psychic gifts from Tzeentch and were all made into psychers, fully twisted by the Warp, if not physically, then definitely mentally corrupted to the bone. Number 7. The Emperor's Children. So their path to damnation started with Fulgrim adopting the Blade of Lair as his weapon, not knowing that it held a greater demon of Slanesh who gradually seduced him into the service of the god of pleasure, gradually day by day for a long time. The rot or corruption spread from Fulgrim to his Lord Commanders, then to companies and squad leaders, and finally all the Marines followed Slanesh instead of the Emperor. They saw heavy fighting with the Iron Hands, and Fulgrim slew their Primarch Ferrus Manus in the battlefield, and then later with the help of Perturabo became a Serpent Demon Prince of Slanesh. But anyway, as for the individual Marines, all of them became twisted by the Warp when they fled their homeworld's destruction into the Eye of Terror. There they stayed and became active pawns in the Great Game, and so as such were blessed with writing tentacles and all types of perverse mutations, all given to them by the Prince of Pleasure. Number 6. The World Eaters. Originally the Warhounds, they are now called the World Eaters due to their disdain for the Emperor, and hated the name since it meant that they were dogs that had to obey the God Emperor's commands. Their hatred for the Imperium stems from two things: the fact that their Primarch Angron had always resented his father for the Nuceria incident, and also due to their butcher's nails driving them insane and intensely with anger. The World Eaters are now dedicated servants of the Blood God Khorne, the Chaos God of war and murder, and live for nothing more than to spill blood in his name. Angron as a demon Primarch is pretty corrupted, with his entire being becoming like a bloodthirsty demon. But the average Joe, the Chaos Marines, have less physical mutations in their bodies since they were all pretty bloodthirsty to begin with, and also they were pretty capable of doing anything, and their rage can be tied to the nails in their brains rather than blessings from Khorne. Even their blessings and mutations are minimal, they would only have a more hideous face or a bulkier build. Number 5. The Wordbearers. So these were actually pretty much the first ones to turn traitor and side with the Chaos Gods against the Imperium. The Wordbearers, known for their intense religious zeal even before turning to Chaos, now stand out as fervent Chaos Marines. Originally guided by Erebus and Corpheron, who were already devoted to the ruinous powers, their Primarch Lorgar came to acknowledge the existence of the Chaos Gods and then started worshipping them. This turn of events was also fueled by the fact that the Emperor banned him from propagating the belief that the Emperor was a god, and forced Lorgar to adopt the imperial atheistic truth. Due to their equal devotion to all Chaos gods, the Wordbearers don't really delve as deeply into the worship of a single deity compared to others. Similar to the impossibility of undivided demon princes, their reluctance to commit exclusively to one god or another meant that they don't reach the same depth, and hence they remain relatively less corrupted physically or mentally. By any one of the Chaos deities, that is. And that is why they are on the 5th spot. Number 4. The Black Legion. Distinguished as more than a successor to Horus's Legion, the Black Legion is a devoted force of Chaos singularly committed to the enduring war against the Imperium. Unlike those aligned with specific Chaos deities, they prioritize service to Chaos Undivided. This dedication positions them as less corrupted than legions devoted to a particular god, and even less so than the fervently worshipful Wordbearers, whose intense allegiance places them higher on the corruption scale. Viewing the warp as a mere tool, the Black Legion endeavors to maintain a clear separation from it. Their elevated position in the hierarchy is justified by Abaddon's retention of his soul to some extent, signifying a degree of independence. However, despite their self-delusions, Chaos Marines, all of them, are unwitting pawns of the gods. Number 3. The Iron Warriors. These Chaos Space Marines hate their mortal bodies more than anything else. They embrace metal over flesh. Their turning point in their allegiance to the Emperor was during their massacre of their own homeworld's populace because Olympia, their world, had rebelled against the Imperium. Mentally twisted in their own atrocious acts, and fearing the other loyal legions would condemn them for it, Perturabo, their Primarch, secretly joined with Horus partly because of the promise of forgiveness by Horus, and actually being exalted for their action. Also, Perturabo's jealousy of Rogaldon being made as Praetorian of Terror greatly influenced his resentment and made him change sides. Anyway, their gene seeds of, the regular Space Marine has a much higher rate of successful implantation, but a higher rate of individual mutation. But these Chaos Marines hate all form of Chaos blessings and mutations, so they, like the Iron Hands, use bionics as a replacement for amputated mutations, which is why they are lower in the corrupted list more than most others, and also due to the fact that they follow Chaos Undivided, well, not really in worship of Chaos, but just for the perks of it. Number 2. Ninth Lords. These Chaos Marines, originally led by Curse, aren't inherently corrupted by Chaos. Instead, they, like their Primarch, are just heavily characterized by mental instability and insanity. Despite the Night Lords' lack of unity as a legion, some elements within their ranks exhibit varying levels of corruption. Notably, certain Night Lords reject the warp indefinitely, as evidenced by characters like First Claw and Zuzo Sahal. Kaon emphasizes that the warp exposes the truth of the soul, revealing imperfections. So while some Night Lords may be susceptible to corruption, others like Craig Acerbus and the Night Lord Raptor and the Sorcerer of Fehevari story showcase the Legion's varied stance on Chaos influence. The Night Lords have a more average implantation success rate, but were also said to have one of the lowest mutation rates among the Legions, with their only real defect being that their psyches tended to skew towards pessimistic foresight, like their Primarch. And number 1, of course, the Alpha Legion. Also known as the Ghost Legion during the Great Crusade, the Alpha Legion's secretive nature makes it hard to really know which side they are really on. They outright reject the Chaos Gods, and their only known objective is to assist in the destruction of the Imperium by covert and subversive tactics. But who knows what they actually want? They might just be a legion of double agents, actually fighting for the Imperium, but their ultimate goal might be long-term, as in the case of super spies. We can say for a fact that they are the least corrupted due to the fact that the seasoned members of the Alpha Legion excel in infiltration, covert activities, and orchestrating events to their advantage without direct confrontation, and blending with the normal Marines. And their Alpha Legionnaires are great at posing as loyalist Space Marines, which means they possess no actual mutations or Chaos blessings. Otherwise, they wouldn't be great at it. And yet their forces also include regular humans referred to as operatives. They also have fresh Legionnaires, which means that they have great or almost pure gene seeds, which means that they have never entered the warp, and so they are the least corrupted among all the Chaos Traitor Legions. So if you like this video, then check this other one as well, and if you want to browse for other Warhammer content, then check out our channel. So subscribe and like for support, and yeah, while you're at it, bang on the bell icon for regular notifications. Till next time, take care, boys.